So coming out of this 2025 growing season, I've been carrying this project that I'm trying to have go through the fall, over the winter, and in next year, right, where I am propagating these sweet potatoes from cuttings, keeping them alive over the winter indoors, obviously, and then the plan is to plant them out in the spring when they're ready to be planted out, and grow a bunch of sweet potatoes next year. So in this particular video, I want to cover an experiment. I'm kind of quasi-experiment I'm doing with trying to maintain fertility and nutrient access for these sweet potato plants before I put them indoors, right? So initially in the potting mix, I didn't actually use a potting mix that I made. It was just like an old dirt pile, and it was from soil that I'd collected, put it in a bucket. It had been in this hoop house for a few weeks, dried out pretty bad. So there probably wasn't a whole lot of like microbial life and activity going on in there. And once I had planted the sweet potatoes out into that, over the course of the next few weeks, they kind of, their leaves didn't quite look quite right, starting to go a little yellow, getting faded, not looking very lively. So I was trying to kind of think of a way I could kind of help spruce them up a little bit. And I'm like, what? Why don't I make like an anaerobic compost tea like I have in in previous videos, and just kind of give them a shot of that before I put them indoors for the winter. So that's what I'm doing today. So I'm going to show in this video what the plants kind of look like before application. I'm going to show how I'm making that compost tea and apply it to the plants, and then I'll also film it, and then I also have some footage from a few weeks after that, after application, to kind of show how much the plants have grown and how much more lively and green and awesome they are looking now. So let's get right into it. Alright, so here I have half of the table. I took the caging off on this side of the table. This is of course where I have the sweet potatoes that I cut off at the stem base in the garden over a month ago, month and a half almost. And there are a number of them that are ready to get cut again and repropagated. So anyway, it looks like these plants definitely need some water, so I'm going to go ahead and water them. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of create kind of a bit of a weak compost tea to add in some nutrients in here. This is just like pretty much dry soil that I had harvested back in the spring to fill up some extra pots, because I ran out of the potting mix that I make myself. And so this is just like decomposed turf clods and stuff from like 4 or 5 years ago. My whole point in saying this is there's probably not a whole lot of nutritional value or microbial life in these pots of soil, and so I'd like to kind of add in some more of that, right? We can kind of see some chlorotic splotches occurring on the leaves. Some of the lower leaves of these plants are getting chlorotic. We can see some browning over here, right? So kind of getting necrotic. Alright, so I had this bucket full of grass clippings and water. The water I got from the rain barrels, so it's, rain water. And so I just dumped out some of the grass. Let it sit 24 hours, dumped out some of the grass, and just used that grass, since it was still kind of fresh, used it as like a mulch. It's kind of thick and wet, so be mindful of how and where you apply it. And then I used some of that anaerobic compost tea on some pepper plants, and then what's left here I am going to use this to kind of fertilize these sweet potatoes. I'm going to dilute it a little bit, so I'm going to add in some more water, and then I'm also going to add in a little bit of homemade compost to stir it around and stuff, kind of make like a poor excuse for a compost tea, and then just apply that to the sweet potato plants. And if I run out, I have another bucket with grass clippings and water. I can just repeat that process if I need to. So I'm going to run with this and see how it goes. Alright, so I got my yogurt container of this compost tea type fertilizer thing, and I'm going to go ahead and lower these pots in a little bit. Alright, so here we are in the hoop house again. You can see we're at over 95 degrees or so, or around that point, and outside of the hoop house it's probably in the 70s. So anyway, it's nice and hot for these sweet potatoes. They seem to be liking it. They're setting out some flowers right now too. Got some bees in here. And so I'm about to go through and take another round of cuttings. Whoops. So I'm about to go through and take another round of cuttings off of these guys. Right, I've been doing this. I'm taking these cuttings before, and I've just planted out my latest batch over here. I just did most of these last night. A few of these I did a couple of days ago. Alright, so I've got like about 12 fresh cuttings that just got potted up, and then I'm going to take some more of these, put them in some water in the window again, and let those root out and continue to propagate more. This is in hopes for growing a bunch of these next year. These plants look like they're doing pretty well now, but a few weeks ago a lot of the leaves were looking they were looking more like this. Like even the newer leaves were looking like more yellowed, faded, kind of reddish. So I gave them a shot of the anaerobic compost tea. I let that go for like 2 or 3 days, and then I diluted that in some water, added in a little bit of compost, and then just kind of watered that in each of these pots. And over the last week or so, these plants have really kind of come right back, bounced right back, right? And the leaves are looking good and fresh and a lot more vibrant than they were a few weeks ago. Thank you so much for checking out this video on fertilizing sweet potato cuttings in the hoop house. As we can see, there is a pretty substantial difference, and the plants look so much more alive now, and are growing pretty fast. So we're getting some pretty good growth. I'll be able to harvest some more shoot tips pretty soon, probably, to root out as more cuttings before it gets super cold out. And then I just have to make sure I have enough space for these plants indoors. So that'll be the next phase of the challenge. So thanks so much again for tuning in. Please feel free to subscribe and consider joining as a member too, because that can really help out the channel. In the meantime, thanks so much for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.